Your B2B Marketing Pint is the podcast for B2B technology marketers who want to sharpen their competitive edge. Joined by other marketing veterans, your hosts Brian O'Grady and Brendan Ziolo share expertise on what works today and why. Grab a cold pint of hot takes on branding, content marketing, demand generation, and more, served with a side of sarcasm.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the B2B Marketing Pint. I'm super happy to have Wendy Moore joining us today. Wendy and I go way back, as Brian does as well with us. We've worked together for a number of years, different companies. Wendy's been in product marketing, technology marketing for quite some time now at companies like Trend Micro and Mitel. She's currently the VP of Marketing at Martello Technologies. And she just brings a great background, a ton of experience to our topic today, which is really, how do you make product and solutions marketing work in technology companies? What are some of the required skills? What works, what doesn't work? So I'm looking forward to this conversation and hope you are all too. Brian, what are you drinking today before we get started?
Well, thank you for asking, Brendan. And I should point out the full circle moment. I think you two are both partially responsible for me and my flirtation with product marketing decades ago. I think, Brendan, you recruited me to be a product marketer, and Wendy, you were just always a better one than I was.
That said, me too, for the record. So yeah, she's got us covered there, or beat there.
Today we're drinking and I'm going to try and pronounce this properly, a Zinc from Poland. Opened with an opener from Garrison Brewing in Halifax, just to keep things a little more local. And I'm not positive that's how you pronounce it. My brother, who's a big fan, says Zivich, but he's not Polish either. So if there's a Polish listener who can let us know how to properly pronounce this, we'd appreciate it.
I am Polish, but I don't know how to pronounce it. So I'm of no use on this podcast whatsoever now. I'm, again, still not drinking, but enjoying a non-alcohol athletic brewing company beer. This was actually the first non-alcohol beer I tried. Really good IPA. Tastes like a real one. So enjoying it quite a bit. And Wendy, what do you have on your desk, I guess?
Well, I got to tell you, I was very disappointed. I went in the fridge to grab the beer I was going to have, which was called Warrior Woman, I'm like, yes, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But all that was left there was Kitsch Light. So that's what we're on today. So,
which sounds way better than none.
I hear you. Am I the only one drinking out of a glass?
Oh, no, you are too. Quick, we're all here. Cheers. A quick virtual cheers. And I guess we can get started.
To a good podcast.
I need a drink first. All right. Well, I'll get the ball rolling here, and then we can go from there. So I've been in technology for a number of years. We all have on this podcast. I'm sure many of our listeners have as well. And there's kind of that, a bunch of product marketing people at the company have been engineers, wanted to move over to marketing, wanted to try it, that type of thing. And then there's other more marketing people who have been marketers their whole life, probably have some industry background perhaps, but maybe less technical, less engineer. I guess, Wendy, do you have an opinion, preference on, what's better? What makes someone more successful in the field? Is there a path that's clearer, or what are you looking for as you hire or as you explore product marketing experts?
So it's interesting. I want to preface this with, I've seen it be incredibly successful both ways, coming from an engineering background and coming from a marketing background. My preference is usually somebody who has done product marketing, because I figure you can pick up the technology and the industry much easier than you can those product marketing skills. So that's always been my preference. But like I said, I've seen some wonderful SEs in particular come over and join the dark side of marketing and joining us in product marketing. So it can work well both ways. I think the thing is you have to love technology, have that technical aptitude that you can pick it up easily. And you have to be good about getting in the mind of the customer and understanding your market. Those are non-negotiables for a product marketing role.
That's pretty good insight and not a bad segue to where I wanted to go next, actually, because I'll admit, when I think product marketing, I don't always automatically think what comes next. I don't know for sure what comes next. I feel like I have a vague notion. I allegedly did it decades ago. But for the sake of folks from other disciplines who are listening now, what are the top things? I think you flirted with them there already, but what are the top responsibilities for a product marketer that you must have at a technology company?
So I think the number one thing is product messaging. So figuring out that really compelling story that connects very well with your target customer's pain point. Because once you develop that, it permeates everything that you do. All of the copy and assets that you develop, your website, even the sales tools and the presentations that your sellers give. That is the number one foundational piece. Pricing and packaging oftentimes goes in product marketing, but sometimes it goes in product management. I got to confess, I prefer companies where it goes in product management because it's my least favorite thing to do. The other thing is enablement. So figuring out how you're going to enable your sellers, whether that is your direct sellers in your organization or your channel partners. What are the tools that they're going to need? How are you going to train them to be effective? What are the vehicles that are going to go along with that? With partners, we've built a partner portal at Martello this year that was all about bringing on our new partners and getting them up to speed very quickly, and their time to revenue, speeding that up as well. And then the other thing that comes into it is the promotional side of things. Product marketers are not great at figuring out, what the promotional elements should be, i.e., should it be social? Should it be advertising in this online website? We're more about defining who is the target, the really, really well-defined ideal customer profile, the persona, and basically what the strategy is, what we're trying to make happen with them. Do we want to get them into a demo? Do we want to get them into a product-led growth journey? Whatever you want that to be, that's what you need to equip then your demand gen and communications teams with, so they can go and do what they do so great and find the best places to fish for the ones that you're trying to find. So
That's helpful.
Have you seen, where do you think competition and competitive analysis fits, Wendy? Like, is that in your product marketing? Is that one of those, like, your pricing, packaging examples that's kind of a bit of both? Or where have you seen that fit?
I see that as very much being a shared responsibility between product management and product marketing, because product management can't develop a product if they don't understand who they need to beat out there and how they're going to differentiate themselves. That then gets fed into the product marketing team, who takes the technical review and adds to that kind of the differentiation and how to position against these competitors, and oftentimes develop the competitive tools for the field as well. So the cheat sheets and that kind of thing.
You've brought back a memory, maybe it's a traumatic memory, I'm not sure, a memory for me as a product marketer. I actually had to present, I guess it was a form of sales enablement, to the sales folks about competitive intelligence, which I felt at the time grossly unqualified for, but that didn't stop anybody. And I can remember, I thought, how am I going to communicate this to a group of salespeople who probably want to be somewhere else doing something else rather than listening to me? And my saving grace was remembering that typically salespeople are very competitive. So I went to the bank machine before the presentation. I got as many $5 bills out as my bank account would allow. And I made the whole presentation a competition to see who could regurgitate the competitive facts back to me best. And that worked. That worked. So there's my only product marketing tip I can ever give you.
The evaluation is really critical. And I've learned this. The problem is, in a lot of organizations, you're spread very thin and you're trying to do a lot of different things. And things like competitive can fall by the wayside. Things like doing evaluations after you do enablement, those are things that easily fall by the wayside. But every time I let it fall by the wayside, it bites me in the new excuse me, you know what? But it's critical. You can't do your positioning properly unless you understand the market. And the thing that is also important if you're enabling the field is it's not a one-time thing. You need to be continually listening to the market and what's happening, so that, if competitor A came out with a big announcement yesterday, you need to equip your field with a statement and how they can position against that. So it just never ends. And unfortunately, most organizations don't resource it as well as it should be. I think good competitive is a full-time job, but usually it's just something that happens on the side of the desk of the product marketing and the product management team. So,
At least in my experience, product marketing sits at an interesting intersection point in a lot of organizations. So, having a bit of fun here, if a product marketer went missing for a week, who would notice first? Is it the product team? Is it the sales team? Is it the rest of the marketing team? Is it support? No one notices. No one knows the product marketer is gone. What's kind of your take in those relationships, I guess, more seriously?
So I've got two answers because I find it varies from organization to organization. The last company I was at, I would say it was your sellers because they were always onto the phone to us, wanting help with, this customer deal or this challenge they were dealing with, or wanting to understand when this is coming in the product roadmap and all kinds of things like that. And then I've been in other organizations where the product team is a lot more aligned with the field and does a lot of that communication themselves. And in those organizations, I find it's really the communications team, the marketing communications team, who are trying to create content, and they require your expertise and your ability to kind of review a bunch of content, but also to outline, how should we be positioning this story? What do our customers care about? So I know that's not one answer, but I find that's the thing about product marketing. It's defined, I find, very differently from one organization to the next. So
I've actually felt that as a copywriter, as a content person, when I'm asking questions like, well, who are we writing this for? And what problem does it solve? And turns out everybody's looking for those answers from a product marketer. We need a product marketer to help us with those things. So that's very useful. I've got another one for you, which is, I think we're understanding through your help what a product marketer does and what those responsibilities are. But on the opposite end of it, are there any examples in the marketplace you can think of that would help crystallize it in the minds of our listeners when there's been a product marketing fail, something that hits the market that clearly was wanting a product marketer and did not get one?
Okay, that's interesting. I was actually thinking about talking about one of my own product marketing fails. It's not going to be a public one that everyone knows about, but
I like that better.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it will be now. It will be now public.
Exactly. And this, I think, demonstrates, and it taught me a big lesson, that you need to consider the entire journey of your customers to understand how things are going to work out. So I'll give you an example. I was working at a company where we started putting our products into AWS Marketplace. So we know there's a few scalar marketplaces out there today, and this is the one we were working in. And one of the things that we did that we thought was going to be just so impactful on the market, and that we were having customers ask for, and it was going to be fantastic, was the ability to do consumption pricing. So only pay for what you use as you use it, right? And so we got this all ready to go. We had everything listed and posted. We rolled it out in our organization, and we thought it was just going to go great because we had so many customers asking for it. We're moving. Yeah, it didn't play out that way. Eventually it did when we fixed things, but the big blind spot that we had was how our sellers were compensated. Essentially, we put it out there, and our sellers were used to selling annual subscriptions. So they'd sell it, and then they'd get their compensation on the full year's value. They'd get a nice big check when they did the deal, and it was done with. As soon as you move to consumption, you get paid monthly. So they were at the beginning starting to get checks for $1.35, or maybe not that bad, but it wasn't that big bang. So they're like, none of them wanted to sell it, right? And after digging in a little bit, we figured out that was our number one problem. And as soon as we came up with some creative ways to fix that, then things really took off. So it just goes to show problems can stem from anywhere. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is whenever a customer is interacting with your organization and there's just so many ways, all of it needs to work favorably, and all parties need to be incented properly in order for it to go smoothly. So I know that's not a big new Coke example. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those, but it's just an example of the types of things that can go wrong.
Well, I still think that's a great example, good one, because honestly, when I have business meetings, I think people think maybe I'm more mercenary than I actually am, but I always actually want to know what side everybody's bread is buttered on, so I know what everybody needs to get out of this conversation in order to be motivated to make it a success. Until I know that, I'm not so comfortable.
Absolutely. And that's smart on your part, because there's often, I find, within one organization conflicting objectives, right? And it's tough to deal with those, but it's better to know about it than to kind of walk into a trap. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So I'm going back a few years, Wendy, but in our earlier startup days, let's put it that way, there were opportunities or there was times, I should say, when the product was half built, the pitch deck was, let's say, more fiction than fact, for instance.
Yeah.
Has product marketing changed? Has it gotten easier? Is it a company size thing, or like are we gonna shatter a bunch of illusions here and tell everyone it's all fiction still?
It's not
Or
all
how are things
fiction.
changed?
I
Yeah.
won't say that, but it has not changed that part of it, because especially in the days of SaaS, first to market is just such a huge advantage that everybody goes just absolutely as quickly as they can. And so that means you're going with a V1 product that probably isn't very complete or addressing all of the needs, with the plans to fill it in as we go. I don't think that's changed at all. And I've worked in companies that were making less than $1 million in a year and companies that were making over $2 billion in a year. And it was the same at both. So I don't think it's a function of size. It's just the nature of the way software is delivered these days. Like, being quick and fast is really critical. And the other thing that has changed, though, so much, is the strategies that you have available to you for your go-to-market. So, I remember the days when, we're going to do some direct mail. We weren't even doing email marketing yet. Oh my goodness, I'm old for sure. But now your options, you can come up with product-led growth strategies where you get a freemium offering out there and just gradually sell more and more to them. There's, your digital strategies. There's a whole bunch of really interesting partnership strategies that you can take advantage of. And, 25 years ago, there wasn't as many options to consider. So I'm actually happy for that, because it helps us to better tailor a solution to the problem that you're dealing with. So
I don't know whether to feel happy or sad that it hasn't changed that much. And that's good insight. I can tell you that what's old is new again. Our direct mail is such an old tactic that it's now cool again.
I hear that.
Yeah, and we actually got bizarrely good results when we did all these wonderful digital things and just threw in some direct mail, and guess what everybody commented on? The direct mail.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to product marketing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk myth busting. There's probably, most disciplines have some assumptions out there in the marketplace that are made by people who don't do the job. As soon as they hear it, they think they know, but maybe they don't know. What's the biggest myth about product marketing that you bump into that drives you nuts and you would like to slay today?
This is by far my most annoying myth that there is. In fact, I had a big discussion about it with somebody who had the myth in their head earlier in the week. Essentially, that marketing makes things pretty. I don't do any of that, right? Like, we focus on the strategy of how to position and how to message that's going to produce the best results, right? And how to hit on those pain points and solve them for your customers in a way that's going to matter to them most. And then figuring out, how are you going to demonstrate that you solve those problems? Is it developing a cost savings model, or is it targeting a bunch of different customers in different industries and building a strategy of how to leverage them as spokespeople, case studies and videos and speaking at conferences on your behalf and that kind of thing? So whenever anybody says, can you guys fix up this deck for me, this PowerPoint deck? I'm like,
Often polished.
Seriously? And that's one of the things, because we do so much more than that. And it's hard really to define the product marketing role. I mean, I gave you the big buckets of what we do, but there's like every day is something different. Every month is something different. Every quarter, like it just continuously, you have to look at things with new eyes and figure out what's going to be the most impactful and help you to get your results. So.
Okay, I feel a metaphor coming on based on your description, and I shouldn't try these live, but here we go.
Oh, good Lord.
Product marketing be the skeleton of the marketing plan, though, before it gets to the content writers and the designers and the web people. Maybe, and we, because that's where I spend most of my time, we'd be the flesh on the bones, or maybe even the clothing, but product marketers might provide the skeleton.
Yeah, to take this a little further, I probably shouldn't.
Oh boy.
But we provide the bones. You guys get us to the right funeral home.
Oh, you have been involved in a number of my launches, I can tell.
Oh, dear.
All right. Well, I'm not going to continue the metaphor here, but
good. I'm glad.
I was about to, but yeah, I'm going to let it go. But for someone new or someone looking to go into product marketing, we've talked about, again, what it does, some of the myths, some of the fail. Like, what's kind of your advice to them? Run away or do this, or how can they enter the field? I guess that's two questions. Sorry. So yeah, what's your advice for someone wanting to get in, and then any tips for anyone looking to either transition or get into the field out of another industry, out of school, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, so you have to love technology if you want to do product marketing in the technology space. So if spending time figuring out and really trying to understand technology and how it fits with your customer isn't something that you absolutely love, probably consider something else. But if it is something that you really want to do, the key thing is to get your foot in the door into either a marketing organization or even, like I said, a sales engineering role. Those are both great paths to get yourself into product marketing. I know I have stolen away many sales engineers from my colleagues over the years to bring them into product marketing roles. As I said earlier, I think anybody who's got the product marketing skills can figure out the technology in the space that they're in. Now, if I was fresh out of school, I would be looking for some sort of an internship program. The company I was at a couple of years ago, Trend Micro, they had this amazing program where we brought in graduates of a couple of schools, a marketing program, and every 6 months they rotated to a different marketing role. So they might start out in marketing communications, go to events, end up, and I would usually try to pick the ones that I had seen kind of some potential there with, pick them to come into product marketing in their third or fourth part of that. Getting your foot in the door is everything, right? Because you need to get somebody's interest that goes, hey, that could be somebody who has the right skills to develop into a product marketer. Because every time you want to hire somebody in product marketing, it tends to be a very challenging task. At least locally where we are in Ottawa, there's some product marketing skill, but not a ton. So you're always looking, okay, if I don't have, an actual ready to go product marketer here, are there any kind of people that I can pull in and develop, right? And like I said, I look for curiosity, technical aptitude, but also being very driven and not requiring a lot of hand-holding, just going, I think we could do this, and running with it, So did I answer your whole question, or was there another part to it?
That was good. That was great insights. And I don't think I've ever thought of the SE side of things, but it makes a ton of sense. Yeah. I'm trying to think now if I've ever worked with any product marketers who are SEs, but I can definitely see the fit now that you planted the seed, because they'd have obviously some good technology and understanding and like that, but the customer experience and the sales experience would be invaluable.
Yeah.
I can imagine as I think it through. So that's great tips just there alone.
And if you're ever looking for an SE, I've had it work out really well, and I've had it not work out at all. The thing you really, really need to screen for is like strong communication ability. Just if they don't have that in addition to the technical aptitude, they're really going to struggle. So
that's a good tip. Another idea you've reminded me of is one of our other guests. We talked about recruiting and team building, and one of the ideas we got to was what they call the T-shaped marketer, where you go broad, a lot of different disciplines, but you go deep in one. And that sounded not unlike what you were just describing there for that internship program. Let's try them all. One you like most, go deep on it.
Because the reality is, I mean, you're going to be working with all of the functions in marketing, right? And to actually have done the job, it gives you that kind of empathy that when Marcom says, sorry, we're not going to be able to get that to you for 2 weeks, you understand that they've got a line of 50 people trying to get something out the door, right? So it's good from an empathy perspective, but it's also good in terms of as you're developing your product marketing plans, you can be thinking about that a little bit and go, oh, I have this great offer idea for you to the marketing communications team. Like maybe it's some sort of assessment or something like that. So the more experience you've got, the broader experience, I think it makes you a better product marketer for sure. So, yeah.
Any final questions, Brian? Anything we forgot to ask Wendy?
I think I learned a lot
put
more.
Her on the spot for?
Well, I learned more in the last 26 minutes about product marketing than I think I knew before, which is alarming that I did the job for a little while.
Well, we really appreciate your time today, Wendy, and joining us. And thank you so much for that. And as Brian said, he learned a lot. I know I always learn something from you, both today and in our ongoing engagements and interactions. So appreciate that. And to our listeners, hope you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all those fun things.
Do all the things.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Excellent.
Thank you, Wendy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, folks, if you liked that episode, you won't believe the next one.
So don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform and you won't miss out.
Or if you've got an idea we haven't thought of yet, hit us up in the comments. We'll cover that too.